In the meanwhile, may I please request all our expert panelists, Mr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee, Mr. Ajay Mittal, Mr. Bandham Srinivas, Mr. Gaurav Mashruwala, and Mr. Vishnu, who will be representing Mr. Mehta, since he had to rush for a flight, who will be representing him from BSE, to kindly join us on stage, please. Can we have the lapel mics, please? I would request you all to kindly be seated because this is going to be a really informative session, and for all you know, you might just benefit from your neighbors' questions. So please be seated and make sure you get completely enlightened and make full advantage of the session. We'll be beginning shortly.
What is that? Frozen. Yeah, it's okay.
I would now request Ms. Soumya from Times Conferences Limited to kindly take the session forward.
Man had to leave to all the back.
Thank you, Sahil. Good evening. We'll be having all the questions addressed to the speakers that we received, and we'll look forward to an interactive session here. My first question is for Mr. Sabyasachi from IIFL. The question is from Mr. P. Kaushala Ram, and it's he's basically asking about the difference between mutual fund and SIP, and what are the terms or the safety in terms of the returns which are expected from both SIP and mutual funds. Primarily, I think, what are the various SIPs or mutual funds, what are the various means of doing mutual funds? More about that.
Can you just frame the question?
The difference between mutual fund and SIP.
Okay. See, mutual fund is a product and SIP is a method. That's the basic difference. Mutual fund is a product, it's a tool or vehicle where you are parking your money. And SIP is the method. That is on every, say if you are going from here, say Bangalore to Bombay, you will encounter a number of stations, right? So you are traveling and the train is the mutual fund train. And each station is the SIP. So once you reach Bombay, you will get an accumulation of each stop that you made. So maybe you had 5 stations in between and you have parked in say 5,000 rupees. So at the end of your station, you will get, at the Bombay station, you will collect the 25,000 rupees. So that's the SIP. And the train you were traveling is the mutual fund vehicle. That's it.
Thank you. Next question for Mr. Srinivas from NSDL. The question is, what will happen on the death of an account holder and the money that's been accumulated in an account? And also, is pension taxable on account of a holder receiving pension post 60? So basically about pension being taxable, and also what happens on the death of an account holder in case of a demat account.
Yeah, there are 2 questions basically.
Yes.
First question is about pertaining to the demat account. If the account holder is deceased, if the account is having a nomination, the nominee will claim for the securities. If there is no nomination, then the legal heir will have to claim for the securities. And therein comes the set of documents which the legal heir has to submit to inherit those securities from the deceased account. That is as far as the demat account is concerned. And the second part with respect to the pension account, see, as of for the pension account, the taxation is EET. Today it is EET. Your investment is exempted and the accruals are also exempted. But at the end, when you actually take back the whole investment what is accrued in your account, that is taxable. So, but government is having a rethink on that policy. Probably if they make it on par with the provident fund scheme, then probably it might be also with EEE treatment, tax treatment it will have. So that is the treatment. Pardon? Yeah,
for
about
NPS
national pension. NPS only.
Yeah, that was NPS. The question for us, NPS. Is the pension taxable when the person starts getting it back?
It's a general taxation question. It's a general. Can I?
Yeah.
It's a general taxation question, is it what you're asking?
No, no, NPS is what he explained.
So is your question on any kind of pension
No,
being
no,
taxed?
NPS, especially NPS.
But what is the question?
Sir, the pension what he gets on after 60, is
Okay.
it taxable from NPS, National Pension?
That is what I answered. Exempt, taxed. After 60
Is the
years,
current
what you get
scenario.
the accrual, that is taxed. As of now, current policy, it is taxable.
And what would happen, consider in case of my demise, what would happen to the corpus which is there with NPS?
That will go to the beneficiary, legal beneficiary, and they will be able to get the benefits of the, whatever the corpus is there in the account.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question is for BSc. Actually, it's a question asking how to sell a physically held share which has been obtained by ESOP, and is there a way to encash it?
The BSc? Yeah.
Yes.
Can you please come
The
on?
question is how to sell a physically held share which has been obtained by ESOP, and how is there a way to encash it?
Yeah, definitely. There is, I think this question can be more
I
pertinent
think
to
it's a
NSDL.
joint
You
question.
can-
I'll take it.
Yeah.
See, basically the ESOP allotment is ESOP itself says that the owner has to remain the owner for a certain period of time. So typically it has a lock-in period. If you have come out of that lock-in period, then it is a free security. Then you can encash it. How to encash it? You need to open a trading account. First you dematerialize it into a demat account, then open a trading account, and then sell through the stockbroker. But if you are still in that lock-in period which is defined for that ESOP scheme, then you will not be able to sell that stock. You will not be able to encash it. You need to wait till the lock-in period.
Thank you, sir. Next question, Mr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee. The question is on the return of investment in gold in the next 5 years. So it's primarily asking what are your thoughts on it?
See, it's a very direct question that you're asking. I've been in the public space or the media space for quite some time, where I have subjectively stated that gold is on a downtrend, and my firm belief is it is still in a downtrend. And maybe, as I mentioned in my presentation also, equity has an upper hand in the coming 3 to 5 years time, and gold may not be able to match the return of equity. So yes, it should be a part of your portfolio, maybe to 5 to 7% of your portfolio can be gold, but overexposure to gold won't be good. And there are a lot of gold monetization scheme as well as the gold bond that has come that was actually giving a hedge of around 25% to the gold you may be purchasing. So remain invested through this kind of products instead of buying physical gold. Go for at least gold ETF to be a part of the portfolio. So on an average, it will give some stability to the portfolio.
Thank you. Next question, Mr. Mittal. There are two questions. One is what is the expected returns in equity mutual funds in the next 5 years? And the second question is the expected returns in gilt fund in the next 5 years.
First is equity and second is?
Gilt.
Gilt. Okay. Expected return, like basically, as Sabya told you that in this forum and all that, expected return is basically, we can't say that what would be the market trends and all that would be there. The only thing is, don't go for expected return, don't go for any particular numbers and all. Just keep on investing on the basis of your goals. As we have seen in the last 20 to 30 years or 20 to 25 years, the Sensex has given a return of 17%. CAGR return over return. So keep on investing for a longer period without worrying. Like you have seen, I have given the example of 500 rupees, how it has become 55 lakh in the span of 30 years. If you are investing it at the rate of 17%, the returns which we have seen in the past. So as in mutual fund, we are saying that past performance is not the guarantee of future returns. So it's totally depend that how the market will perform in the coming years, but you need not to worry, as if you are investing it on a continuous basis, if you are regularly investing it, you need not to worry that how much return would be there after 5 years. Just keep on investing on the basis of your goals only.
Right, sir.
Whether it is gilt, and gilt, if you will see in the next 3 to 5 years, as we are expecting the interest rates to come down, and there is an inverse relationship between the interest and the principal or NAV. If interest rate is going to come down, the returns in the gilt or in the future, it would be very good in the next 2 to 3 years or 4 years.
Thank you, sir. The next question is primarily to all the speakers, so any of you could choose to reply. The question is, being fresher to the personal finance and investing stocks and in mutual funds, what are the ways to learn the basic knowledge of these? That's question number 1. Question number 2, are there any books or websites available to know about these basics? And question number 3, what is the best advice you would like to give to a beginner like me who is of 30 years and not started my personal finance management yet?
Okay, so let me start. I think everyone can add on something to it. So I'll give you an option. We are in Bangalore. We have got a presence in Bangalore where we do a lot of customer education program. You can walk into any one of those customer education program. You can have a word with the speakers. And as a book, if you ask, there are good books by Warren Buffett on value investing. You can read on those lines. Those are simple to read. And also, one of my favorite is Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. It's a wonderful read. If you lay your hand on it, it's a real good one. And if you have not started in 30, it doesn't matter. As I said, start right now. It doesn't matter, 30 years is gone. What is gone, never look back. Just look the forward where you see another 30 years. So start investing and select mutual funds, but analyze the mutual fund and then select. Understand the product first. Thank you.
Second is like the advice is to you is this, like go for a SIP and you start getting any statements and all, and just see the portfolio of the stock of the mutual funds, where because in mutual fund every month a disclosure of the portfolio is there, in which companies the mutual fund are investing, how their financials and all that is there, and on the basis of those you can just analyze those companies. And as Sabya told that you can attend the sessions done by IFL also, and that is the main thing. And another good book is there on that, on like how to do a valuation of the companies and all that, by Aswath Damodaran, that you can also refer. After reading Warren Buffett, you can go for that also. Thank you.
You want to take it? Okay, so Warren. A couple of things. One is to begin with, I think the first step is to define financial goals, and I don't think you require any kind of training for that, number 1. Number 2, start with banking, because many times we see ignorance about banking. Reserve Bank of India on their website has brilliant material, trust me. Right from kids, school kids to elderly people, they have a lot of good stuff there. And you may want to read that, you may want to understand that. That's number 1. Both NSC, BSc, NSTL, they have a lot of educative material, which is what you can look at. Please follow that. These are government regulators. One more place that you may want to look at is NISM, National Institute of Securities Market. This is a joint initiative by Reserve Bank of India, SEBI, IRDA, which is an insurance regulator, and PFRDA, which is a pension fund regulator. So these are government regulators who have this initiative NISM, and they also have something called as NCFE, National Center for Financial Education. On their website, there are brilliant videos, there is brilliant material by all the regulators. The reason I'm insisting on going to all these websites is regulators are doing very good job. Stock exchanges are doing very good job, and they are neutral. To that extent, you may want to go and pick up those things. Those are stuff that you may want to look at it. In terms of reading books, I would say do that at a later stage, because a lot of these books, they're really, really brilliant and nice stuff, but unless the concepts are not very clear, those books will kind of more become DIY. And I don't want you to get into like, book has said something, so do it or whatever. So go to books later on, do that. Media is doing a good job in terms of a lot of writing material, TV shows. So there's a lot of stuff that's around, but if you want to do it in structured manner, the institutions that I mentioned, some of them also conduct classes. I guess NISM does it, NCFE does it. I don't know if BSc also has a training institution. So you can look at that. NSDL has some kind of training, or at least NSC has it. NSE, National Stock Exchange, also has it. So all these regulators are doing a lot of stuff, good stuff, and you may want to pick up material from there.
Excuse me.
Yes, somewhere.
Just want you to repeat the name of that book by Mr. Damodaran.
Valuations.
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 Yeah, that is valuations. Fantastic book that is.
Thank you, sir. Next question is again for Gaurav as well as Sabyasachi. It's primarily on insurance. So it's how good is a term insurance plan as a coverage or as an investment? If not, what is the best alternative? And do I need a term insurance if I'm single and I have no dependents?
Okay, here, term insurance currently in India is the best option. It's the purest and the cheapest form of insurance. You have to die to get the benefit. No, but that's perfectly all right. It just costs you less. I mean, to that extent, even if we have a health insurance, you have to go to hospital to get benefit. Doesn't mean we just keep going to hospital. If we have a four-wheeler and motor car insurance, we get money only if we bang the car. Doesn't mean last day of the insurance policy we go and bang the car. And we still keep the insurance. So term insurance is the best as of now in India. Other insurance products are expensive, number one. Number two, on your question is that you are single. If you're going to remain single, if there are not going to be any dependents, you don't require insurance. So, but if there is a possibility that, I don't know how young or old you are, so when you said single, is it that you're very old and there's no family, or you're very young and not started a family? So depending on that, if there are not going to be any dependents on you in a foreseeable future, you may not want to pick up a term insurance. But if there are, or if you have any kind of loans, please go ahead and pick up term insurance. Anybody else?
Nothing to add, that's perfect.
Thank you. Next question is on SIP. It was directed towards BSc. Is how SIPs overcome inflation and what are the risk factors if planned for a shorter duration?
Okay, I'll start this and then probably pass it on to the other people. I don't want to completely keep passing upon. So see, at least what happens in SIP is it's already there in the acronym, right? Systematic investment plan. So you keep investing at the regular dates. So what happens is whether the inflation moves even up, so that when you invest regularly at a certain point of time, fixed point of time, it actually averages out. So neither in the lowest grade nor in the highest grade, it averages out. So this actually helps you to beat the inflation. That is why many of the people, learned experts, suggest SIPs, especially for retail investors, because they do not want to actually go and directly buy through stock markets. So then it could be a really brilliant option for them to invest consistently, and what also it brings is, it also brings discipline into investing. So you ensure that since you have fixed a goal that every month you'll have to pay some X amount of money towards that particular fund, it brings you a discipline into your particular financial goals, and this when it takes around 10 years or 5 years, you get to know the benefit during the end point of time. If you want to add anything further.
Next question from Mr. Srinivas of STL. It's as a beginner and who wants to be safe, how do you start paper trading, and why is it said that open a demat account by a female dependent or a mother or wife is recommended? I think that's something.
Come back, the second
So
part.
what is, second is why it said that open a demat account by a female dependent is something which is preferable, or it's something that's been told.
The question is not clear actually. There is no, restriction as such. The account can be opened by any individual as such. It is as simple as opening a bank account. There's no difference. In a bank account, you hold your funds in electronic form. Similarly, in a demat account, you hold your securities in an electronic form. So it is, everybody has the right to open the account. I mean, even if it is,
So I'll just add to it. बचपन में मम्मी और बाद में दीदी और when you are 30, it's your wife who cracks the whip. So it's always safer when you hand over your investments to your female guardian type. So it's always safer because they understand this sometimes a tad better than us also. So that is there. And regarding paper trading, I'll just add, see, where trading is a very interesting, it's an adrenaline rush for us, and it's also very dangerous sometimes. I say not always, sometimes it's dangerous when you are leveraging a lot. So once you want to understand something, like in cricket we used to do a lot of net practice, while we used to solve a lot of sums before going for an exam. It is the same thing, you are facing an exam, before that, try it out at your home, the strategies you want to go for, So that's where the paper trading makes its mark. So before going into trading, it's better you do at least 1 month of paper trading and then come into the trading and develop a strategy out of it.
Thank you. Next question, Mr. Mittal, is do you think investing in ELSS is better than SIP? Please explain.
Like ELSS is equity linked saving scheme, that's a 3-year lock-in period. You can do an SIP also. SIP is basically a way of investing your money in mutual fund, and in mutual fund different schemes are there. One scheme is ELSS. So in ELSS what you can do, you can make an investment in a lump sum way, or you can do an SIP in ELSS, equity linked saving scheme. So every month if you are putting 3,000, 1,000 or whatever the amount you are choosing, that amount would go for a lock-in period of 3 years. So then after 3 years there would be a cycle for you that every year you would be having unlocking of one which you have put it in the first month, that would go lock in after 3 years. So you can create a cycle for your ATC deductions. So that is the way. ELSS is basically a type of scheme, and SIP is basically the way of investing in mutual fund, and you can do an SIP. I think that is the better way of investing in ELSS through this.
Next question for Gaurav. It's a specific question is, what is the ideal amount of health insurance to be taken for a family of 4? Is there any way to calculate that?
Difficult to calculate, but here are certain benchmarks that we as practitioners follow. One is depending on the city that you are living in. So, for example, if you are living in Mumbai, Delhi or Bengaluru, where healthcare costs are little higher, you do require higher health insurance compared to normal rest of the country, number one. Number two, it also depends on area. For example, in Mumbai, I live in South Bombay, and that's where most of the hospital costs are maximum. Now, if there's going to be an emergency, I'm not going to travel with that critically ill person for about 15 kilometers north of Mumbai and find a hospital which is little less on cost, maybe giving same kind of treatment. So find out the cost of a room or a simple treatment in hospitals nearby vicinity and the city, and that's where it depends on the kind of health insurance that you require. You also want to find out the kind of cover that your employer is giving. Usually in cities like Bangalore or Bengaluru, sorry if it's offensive, Bengaluru, Mumbai, New Delhi, we recommend that at least 5 lakhs cover per person. So if it's family of 4, you can either have 5 lakhs each, or you can even have a floater plan which is about 15-20 lakhs. That's something that you should begin with. Now that's in total cover. So if your employer is giving, then you can take lesser cover. So many times we've also seen people who says that, immediately we can't afford for whatever reason. In that case, you may want to start small and then kind of increase it. So depending on the situation, if there are senior citizens, then there could be a cap, or the cost of health insurance at an elder age is very, very high, and hence you may want to get into a situation where there are some deductions, or there are some policies which will give you a cover which are top-up plans. You don't take the base plan, straight away go for top-up plans, and whatever is the base amount which is not going to be covered, keep that much money in a fixed deposit or mutual fund, something, so that your cost of health cover comes down. So based on age, city, the cost of hospitals nearby, you may want to decide, but here in Bengaluru, probably I would say at least 5 lakhs per person should be the starting point.
Thank you. Next question from Mr. Sabyasachi Mukherjee. The question says, as mentioned, liquid mutual funds have a better advantage over savings bank account because of more interest. How easy or difficult is it to access liquid fund or liquid money in mutual funds as compared to savings account or a debit card?
It's really easy. So why I mention always the liquid mutual fund is from two perspectives. One is a general investors that I attend to, and the other is my traders who are there with me. So they generally park their money on a Friday and pull it out on a Monday. So it's very, if you calculate 2 days, and it translates to approximately 104 days in a year, holidays, plus you can add another 20, 30. So 130 days, you are actually losing interest if it's lying with a broker. So it's better you park your money in a liquid mutual fund where you earn interest out of it for 1/3 portion of a year. And the second is, yes, it is really good if you are having, say, contingency fund of 3 months, say it's your monthly spending is around 50,000. So you are having a contingency funds of around 1,20,000. I am approximating it's 1,20,000. You can keep 10,000 in your home, and the remaining, if there is any surplus that is getting on, it's better to park it in the liquid mutual fund. You can pull it out in a 1 day's notice. So it is not like you go to the ATM and pull it out. Maybe with time it may happen like that, but now it is approximately 1 day. You can even park money for 1 day. And BSE has also got an overnight facility also for liquid mutual funds. So this actually has got a much superior return than savings bank account. Sorry? No, not exactly. But it is always, I always feel that at one point of time, if you have a Demat account, it's very easy to see what is there in your Demat account. So if it's like a bank account, so any transaction that gets debited or credited gets reflected in it. The same way a Demat account will help you. Physical certificates I never supported. So I have come of age where I feel that more and more technology is going to take over our life. So it's better to have a Demat account for even mutual funds, though it is not mandatory.
And in liquid fund, one good thing is there is no exit load.
Yes, no entry, no exit.
No entry is nowhere at all. No exit load is there. Whether you are taking out money 1 day, after 2 days, whatever it would be, there is no exit load in any scheme.
So it's better than bank FD, do you suggest, or
See, bank FD, you are doing it for a 5 years period, 3 years period. So if you are locking your money for a 5 years period, there are alternative investments that are there. See, it's the safety thing that is there in our mind that bank deposits are safe. But actually, if you see, the governments go bust. Can't the bank go? The bank also can go bust. In that case, only your 1 lakh is actually insured. So even if you put 10 lakhs in a fixed deposit account and the bank goes bust, you will recover only 1 lakh out of it. So it is better you then find out 10 different banks and put 1 lakh there. Right, so instead of that, if it's a 5-year long-term horizon that you're looking forward to, there are better alternatives than fixed deposits.
In that way, what you can do, like you can have one instrument is there in mutual fund that is called STP, Systematic Transfer Plan. Suppose if you have put 5 lakh rupees in the liquid funds, you can instruct the fund house that every month my 5,000 rupees should go to equity scheme, or my 5,000 rupees should go to debt schemes. In the standing instruction in SIP from your bank account it is getting deducted, but in this STP, Systematic Transfer Plan, from one scheme to another scheme, like your liquid scheme, you are earning an interest, and gradually, because in equity, if you are putting it all lump sum 5 lakh rupees, there is a risk of downside risk is higher. So instead of putting all your money there, then you are doing STP, Systematic Transfer Plan, every month or every week, whatever you choose to. Yes. It's
last 1 year approximately it has ranged from 8.01 to 8.3, 8.53. So it depends on the quality of the paper that the mutual fund is investing in. Mostly are below 3 months of time. So, but with the gradual decrease in the yield that is coming, we are seeing that obviously it will taper down to around 8% or 7.7 to 8.
So you mentioned about having a Demat account. If I'm investing direct mutual funds, then how do
I think AMCs will be better to see. It's always something like I am going to do a direct. If you are aware of a investment type, I don't mind doing a direct, but always advisory play a part, because you may choose some instrument which you have not understood or misunderstood. An advisor who is dealing with it daily. I think you are an IT professional. You are IT professionals, right? I do, if I need something, I go to my IT guy and ask him what is the server requirement, or tell me about the API merging and all, because I am not a guy who is doing it, but I understand business, I understand finance. I give him my things, he gives me his, and we do the best. So it's always who is the professional, who is a doctor, give it to him. He may do a better job than a chemist.
What I'm asking is if you are investing in a direct way in mutual funds, is there a way like a demat account where you can get consolidated view of
Yes.
You need not to have a demat account also. There is one, if you have updated your PAN number as well as your email ID, there is one statement called consolidated account statement. So every 3 months you are getting a cash, or every month you are getting a consolidated account statement wherever, in whichever mutual fund you have invested in, whichever schemes. So all the schemes, investments and the valuations are coming to you every month. Yes. Okay.
Right. Okay. So I'm sure a lot of you have a lot more questions left, and probably you can just take them offline. We'll be ending with the session now. I would like to thank all our speakers for taking out time and helping us and educating us further on financial matters. Many thanks to all our partners for their immense support in organizing this event. Associate partner India Infoline, depository partner NSDL, mutual fund partner Birla Mutual Fund, exchange partner BSE IPF, and alliance partner FIAI. Our next conference will be held in Calcutta on the 4th of December. Be sure to inform your colleagues and friends in the city about this great Economic Times initiative, so they may also be financially enlightened. You've been a wonderful and patient audience, so thank you so much for your time, and we were glad you could join us. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.